Oh, good morning. Hello, and welcome, everyone. Um, we're having a good time. We're having a good time today. Um, I got okay. The dogs have been outside. They've done their business. They've properly been fed this morning, and they're in the back room. So hopefully, Doug will not be throwing a fit because Doug has he's grown accustomed to he's grown accustomed to interfering with my broadcasting here. Um, so, so I've taken some uh, advanced issue. I took care of Doug and Allie. They're okay. So here we are. Good morning, everybody. Um, things I think I figured out what the problem was yesterday. My computer died. It was my computer was the problem. Um, I got thinking about this thing. This computer, I've had this computer for, I believe it's 8 years old. And I think that was the problem, is that it was too old. So now I'm on a laptop because I got a decent laptop. So here we are. Questions, Alan Watts. Yes, I do like Alan Watts. I've read and studied a lot of stuff of Alan Watts. I think he was he was really instrumental in bringing Eastern uh, philosophy and westernizing it adapting it for Western consumption. So, yeah, I like Alan Watts quite a bit. I think I think you'll find a lot of things I agree with Alan Watts. So yes, very much so, very much an influence on me, along with others of that ilk, if you will. Um, yes, the Bucky's T-shirt. I love Bucky's. I know there's a lot of people who hate Bucky's, but I enjoy the Bucky's. I enjoy the spectacle that is Bucky's. I enjoy anybody who creates something uh, that's completely out of this world. Completely, I mean, just blew the whole concept of a convenience store and just went crazy with it. If you've never been to a Bucky's, it's quite the adventure. The things are huge. The bathrooms, and I mentioned the bathrooms first because I'm an old guy and bathrooms are important to me. But I love the Bucky's bathrooms. They're almost hardly ever do you have to wait. There's times it gets real busy and there's a line even for the light restrooms at Bucky's, but boy, they're clean. They take good care of them. They're somewhat built in haste, so they're not. You know, if you have um, okay, what do I mean? It's okay. Anyway, I love Bucky's. So when I go to Bucky's, I usually pick up a shirt or two. I'm a big fan of the t-shirts. I'm a big fan of Bucky's. So why not have Bucky's t-shirts? And I am not sponsored in any way, shape, or form by Bucky's. I just love Bucky's. Just so you know. The computer it was working on some stuff yesterday, and as I was going along, it just boop, and now it will not turn back on. It makes no noise. It lights up, and then it's done. It's the computer's dead. Like I said, it's 8 years old. I think it's past its prime. It's had a good run, but it's time to get myself a new home computer. Usually, what happened, uh, I get a computer, I get a new computer, and then my kids take over my old computer. But now the kids have all gotten bigger, and they just buy their own computers, which are gaming computers, and they're quite much better than any computer I've ever owned. Because I don't need gaming. I don't need super gaming computers. I love games. I was not to brag, but there was many times back in the days of Space Invaders that every arcade in my hometown had I was the top scorer for months at a time. I would go around and make sure I was on the top score of every Space Invaders game within a 10-mile radius of my house. That was my childhood. Hey, want to join me? Make an appearance? She's so anyway, so yeah, my computer's dead. So I'm operating on a laptop now. But that was a problem. That's why I kept it cutting out, was the computer is a problem. But we're having a good time. Galaga, yeah, I remember Galaga. Where'd that one go? Galaga, and then Space Invaders, Asteroids. That was a big one. Asteroids, Tetris, Centipede. I think the early days, the younger generation doesn't get it. I mean, I remember Pong. My dad was a decent mechanic and a truck driver, and he was able to go. He went to California on a trip, and he bought an Atari. Before you couldn't even get them in Utah at the time, and he bought an Atari in California and brought it back home. And we lived in a trailer park at the time, and every kid in the trailer park and beyond would come and hang out at our house and watch each other play Pong. It was a glorious experience. But yeah, we had an Atari when I was a kid. It was a big deal. It was the first video game anybody had ever seen, and we had one, and so I love video games right from the get-go. Just big, loved them. And then but I had a paper route when I was 12, and I would take all the money I made from paper routes and go play video games. I remember one day I was there, was playing video games. I had finished my paper route, then I stopped at the arcade and I was playing, and I would lose track of time. And so usually my paper route would be right after school, hop on my bike, do the paper route. It usually take me about an hour and a half, and be home for dinner by 6, 7 o'clock. Well, anyway, I went and started playing video games. They had this new game called Gorf, which was a combination of a bunch of video games. And I was into that one, and I was playing this thing and lost track of time. And it was about 8:30. They closed, I think it was during the weeknights, they would close at 9. It was about 8:30 at night. Usually I'm home at 6. And so anyway, realized that I wasn't home. And so my dad went and he knew my paper route. So he drove my paper route and was trying to find me. And then finally he stopped at the arcade and found me. And my dad walked in behind me. He never got mad at me. He never raised his voice. He just came and he put his hand on my shoulder. And he said, "Son, you have a problem." And I was like, what? And he goes, "It's 8:30. Your mother's been worried sick about you. Let's go home." And never said anything more about it. Never said anything more about it. But it was basically letting me know that I was wasting all my money on video games. And I was spending a lot of money on video games. Yeah, for what the amount of money I was spending on video games, I could have just started my own arcade, which is what I should have done. But anyway, so from that day forward, I started limiting myself, and eventually I just stopped playing video games because I know I would become addicted. It was too much of a deal for me, so I had to stop playing video games. I still love video games, and when my kids came along, I always got games to them, but I've really tried to avoid playing them because I will become obsessed. So, but yeah, that's fine. What was anything? A blessing? Oh yeah, sometimes it's a blessing, good sir. It was for me. I found out I'm pregnant and due in February. My last one, though, I'm not getting any younger. Oh, well, congratulations, Carrie. Congratulations, Carrie Dover. Um, uh, Kids are the best, but at some point in time, you gotta throw. You just gotta know when you're done. Bring in a few souls to replace you and keep this whole human thing going, and that's what you do. Um, but yeah, I guess I just sort of that whole coming from a family of just knowing that addiction is a thing. I don't know that it's hereditary, but it's certainly a learned behavior that you can gain. And I could become obsessive about things, and I just decided that I didn't want to. And but at the same point in time, if I had stuck with it, because I wanted to develop the video games, if I had just stuck with it and kept just turned it into a career where I could make money off of it, then it would have been great. But but I didn't know that I was going to keep doing that. What does a woman do when her grown kids refuse to speak to her after worshiping them their entire lives? Well, I think worshiping was probably your first mistake. Um, uh, I mean, I don't know your situation entirely, but I think you need to your relationship with your children is that it shouldn't be a worshiping situation. I think that's you're putting a little too much on the kids, and I mean, I don't know fully. I think your kids will just they grow up and they move on. You're old news, and they're out learning and experiencing the world. Let them live and experience the world and not worry about it. Just let them go out and do it. Just let them know that you're always there, and they'll come back. They do. That's the biggest thing is just letting your kids know that you're still there. Um, But yeah, you might. If you're using the word worship, maybe you were a little smothering. That could have been it. Maybe you were. Maybe you did a little too much. And they need their space. They need a little distance. So, but no, just keep loving them. You'll be fine. Let them know. Let them know that you love them, and you'll be fine. Hey, Sir Mikey, thank you again. $10, Pennsylvania. Hey, Mike, call me. Maybe we could. Maybe if I can get my car fixed, maybe I'll come out and make an appearance anyway. High Score, a great documentary on Netflix about how video game developers literally made games to get you addicted and keep putting in course. Yes, yeah, they are. It's a big psychology. There's a lot of psychology in game manufacturing. Um, uh, that's why they become so addictive. That's why people can spend so much time. Is because they play with your brain, and serotonin and dopamine levels that your concept. It's like a lot of it's like slot machines, gambling. Same concept is that it's always just enough. You're succeeding just enough to get these little rewards as you're going along, and then the frustration of not achieving and then getting, and then so this is a constant rewarding. Yeah, it's they're they can be addicting, and like rightfully so. I think when you study the psychology of that stuff, that it can also help you in your life when you see how things affect you and you're aware of them. Then uh, you can become a better person because you know how to get away from this, how to avoid that kind of stuff. I talked to one of my parents because that person can interact with me like a human. Yeah, I think at some point in time, I think also with the kids, you gotta, as I always told my kids, I'm not your friend, I'm your father. Friends come and go. I'm here forever. So it's a different relationship. It should be. I mean, you still do friend like stuff, but uh, being a parent is different. What can I do when my husband doesn't allow me to have any spending money? I'm just a housewife, but he doesn't let me have anything. That's well, again, I don't know your full situation, but that's not a healthy thing. Um, that's that's an indicator. I mean, is there other issues going on? I don't know that I would give. Uh, this is the problem with giving advice on these things is I don't know the full situation. I don't know your whole story. I mean, do you have a personality that you spend money a lot? Because I know that that's my thing. Retail therapy. Do you spend a lot of money because you're going out and buying stuff? Is this something that's been part of your relationship the whole time, or is this something he's done as a to stop something from happening? I mean, I don't know the full story, April. I would say that if you're in a controlling relationship, that he doesn't trust you, that you got that's difficult. I think letting him know that you feel like you don't trust him and or that he doesn't trust you, that there's a trust issue involved there. And a lot of times, if there's a trust issue going one way, it's because it's also going the other way. If you know what I mean, I don't if you're following that. But I wish you the best. I hope that you have. I mean, is your relationship good otherwise? That's the question. Is this an indicator of other problems in your relationship, which is usually what it is? Um, I think just letting him know of your frustration and that you're unhappy, that would be the biggest thing. Well, I tried to be my kids' friends too. I married the father when I was 17, married 22 years. A codependent, abusive. Oh dear, others flowed into our kids. Such dysfunction. Yeah, I said, don't be your kids' friends. Being a parent is not being a friend. It's something more. Um, it's a stronger thing than just being friends. Um, Sorry to hear that, Charlene. So many bad. Uh, this is part of the thing. I want to answer your questions and I want to help you. But a lot of this, and this is where I think I love teaching Stoicism, is that whatever your relationship is that if it's one sided, regardless of what the relationship is, if one party is getting more out of it than the other, then it's a lopsided and it's a bad relationship. If one person has more control than the other person, it's a bad relationship. Um, if if you always feel like you're on pins and needles, that like at any minute your relationship is going to end because you did something wrong, that's a bad relationship. And you just need to decide if you want to continue in that relationship or if there's something you can change the relationship. I mean, again, it's really hard to solve all your problems on a Facebook Live. Let's see. Let's see here. Rex Creepa. Is there any advice you can give me as a grandfather at 33 years? Oh my goodness, 33 years old. Wow. I will tell you that this is how fascinating this is to me. I'm 53. I still don't have grandchildren. My kids are not. They're not breeders apparently. My oldest daughter was born when I was only 13. Yeah, you started early, my friend. I got you. Okay. And she just recently had a son. I love being a grandpa already, but since my grandson was born, I've been feeling like I've missed out on my own life. Oh no, no. You know, you made choices early on that led to these, and you've brought a young. You brought your daughter. So you brought in a daughter. You started early, which that's just what it. No, I think when you go back and you start saying, "Oh, I missed out." No, you had a different experience than others. You didn't have the same experience as other people. When you sit there and you start having these ideas of regret, um, It's a terrible thing you're doing to yourself. You made the choices, and you had the experience of those choices, unlike anyone else. You had your choice. You've had those things, but you're still very young. You still have a lot ahead of you. You should. Um, and I said, happy being a grandparent. I You should be excited. No, you're just because you're having a different experience doesn't mean you missed out on anything. You still, you just happen to have experiences much earlier than most people would. I didn't have my first child until I was married at 23. Our first child came when I was almost 25. So, no, don't feel regret. You should don't just be grateful for the experience you have had, and just look forward to new ones that you can have. You still have a lot of life. You haven't missed out on anything. Not at all. Absolutely, Eddie Brockett. I wholeheartedly agree. Wholeheartedly agree. I equate being your kids' friends with participation trophies that take away from the original message. I believe you teach them respect and expect them to reciprocate that respect and self-respect. Good. Absolutely, very good. Yes. Um, I completely agree with that. I became a grandmother at 35. I wouldn't change it for all the riches in the world. I now have two grandkids at 49. My heart aches to be with them, but since my daughter is showing me the tough love, I feel as though she's depriving them and me from having a close relationship. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, be happy with the moments that you do have. You have to respect your daughter's choices, whatever they are. You may disagree with them, you may not be happy with them, but part of that respect is that you allow her to be the parent. You don't undermine her, regardless of how she makes you feel or whatever. Um, Support her and just do what you can. Send the kids cards and let them know that you're there for them. I mean, that really is the key to the whole thing. Is just continue to be who you are, continue to love, continue to appreciate them, continue to give them respect, and just let them know that you're always there. And just knowing that a lot of times they'll come around, and the kids get older, and it comes to grandma. My coming to Seattle. This is a great question. There was a gentleman reached out to me. He has a new venue there near Seattle about bringing me out there. We've talked. I don't think we've set an actual date yet. But yes, I will eventually be coming to Seattle to perform. Seattle and also Oregon, that area. I'm trying to get it set up, but yes, I eventually will. If you know of a place, um, if you know of a place where I can come perform, let me know. Shunning is a problem. That generation of parents is so jacked up. Their children are impelled and distance because of it, and they refuse to take responsibility. I don't. Again, I don't want to. I hate it when I don't like the idea of generational, where we sit there and fight amongst the generations. Gen X, this, baby boomers, millennials. We're all just humans, and we've all had a very different experience. Our lives are very different. None of us grew up in the same world. I mean, even those of us who grew up in the same generation still didn't necessarily have the same experience growing up. I mean, we all are individuals, and when you start assigning things to generations, I think you're creating a logical faux pas, if you will. I refuse to judge people according to their generation. I have found many millennials who are just as hardworking and as I would as you would associate, like Gen Xers. I mean, I've known a lot of millennials. My kids are all millennials, and they do not have that millennial. Well, my daughter does. She's a millennial at heart, but the boys are they're more like Gen Xers. So no, I don't I dislike the whole generation definitions and stuff. I think I think it creates too much of a us against them mentality, and it's not us against them. I mean, you're talking about generations in a family, and I don't hate anybody in my family just because they see the world differently than I do. I don't know. I really don't. I don't like the generation thing. It said I don't hate millennials. I don't hate Gen Y. I feel bad for Gen Y because we couldn't come up with. They're like Gen X. Nobody wanted to come up with a name, so they just generics or the geriatric generics. Do you think we still live in Plato's cave? This is a great question. If you're not familiar with Plato's cave, he presents this in Republic, and the idea is that a group of people are sitting in a cave, and the only experience, anything that they really know, is from watching shadows being cast up on a wall that's being projected there, and that's their reality, is these images on this wall, these shadow images on this wall. Well, one day one of them breaks free from the shackles of in this experience and breaks free, and he gets out of the cave. He goes and he sees that these shadows are not real, that they're these little cutout boards, and that there's this fire behind them, and this fire is creating the light, and that light's projecting on the wall, and that these are just shadows of these small puppets, that what they're seeing, it's not real. It's something that's been created for them. And so then he leaves the cave, he goes outside, and he sees the trees and the sun and the sky, and he's like, wow, this is amazing. I got to go tell those people that what they're experiencing isn't real. So he goes into the cave, and he tells them, hey, this is nonsense. This is garbage. None of this is real. And they get mad at him. No, how dare you? You're a crazy lunatic. Obviously it's real. So we can see it. It's right there. What you're telling us is a bunch of nonsense. And I think that absolutely, I think that we are definitely to some degree in that we are, and it's gotten worse. This is the thing, is that you would think that with the information age and with the internet, and we all know more, but in fact it seems like we have more choices. But the reality is, if every single day we see that our reality is being controlled and manipulated and stifled. This is why we don't have the true freedom that we thought we were going to have. We don't have it. I mean, even right now on this live, there's certain words that I know that if I say, it'll trigger something on Facebook or YouTube, and it'll piss them off, and they'll take my videos off and then shut me down. And the weird thing is I don't even know what those words necessarily all are. I mean, it could just somebody somewhere just goes, hey, we don't like this guy. We don't like what he's doing. And then they just make something up and shut you down. So we don't. So yeah, I do think that Plato was way ahead of himself. And it's interesting to think about that he came up with this back before there was technology. I mean, people got their news from just listening to people talk about it down on the town square. I mean, you would just go and hang out the town square, and this is why Plato and Socrates would be hanging out. They would do these outdoor sessions, and this was a source of entertainment. Was they go and sit and listen to philosophers talk and debate and outdoor theater. I mean, you would have to get involved in the community. You had to go hang out in the community to find out what's going on, and even then, there was still it was still stories being shared with each other, and that became a reality. So yeah, I do believe that we're still in Plato's cave, and probably always will be. Um, do you do comedy shows? Yes, I do. I am a lot. I do live comedy, my friends. Um, Glad you asked, because you might say, when can I see you live? Right there, live comedy, 49 Franklin, Rumford, Maine, August 5th. Um, I'll be there. And then the next show is August 18th. This is in Western Massachusetts. If you're there. And then, of course, coming to Dallas, Hyenas, Dallas, Texas, August 24th. It's a Wednesday night. So, and of course, you want more information about my live performances right there. Right there. It is rodneynorman.com for all your Rodney Norman needs. So, when I come to Texas, like I said, August 24th, I'll be at Hyenas. The Wednesday, okay, here's how it works: is the Wednesday night show at Hyenas is me headlining. It's my whole show. You'll see it's me doing my thing, the whole thing, and a couple friends. And then I have a friend, Steve Hurst, who's very funny. My friend Steve, he's headlining the club that weekend, and I'm hanging around and opening for him. So I won't be my full show. It'll just be, I think I'll do about 15, 20 minutes opening for him through the weekend. So if you don't see if you want the full show of me, it's the Wednesday night show. But if you come through the weekend, you'll see I'll still be there. So you can come and hang out. Yes. What are your favorite books? Actually, I'm a reader. I have a lot of books. My favorite book is whatever I'm currently reading, and see if I have it. This is one of my favorite books, mostly because I just like the title. It's a great book on logic. And then, of course, this is one that I'm currently reading, Plato at the Googleplex, Why Philosophy Won't Go Away. It's a good book. It's a good read. But I would say my favorite books are Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. I highly recommend everyone read that book. Also, Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, also a great book. And a book by James Allen, As a Man Thinketh. I think are three of my favorite books of all time. I think everybody should read those books. I also read the Bible. I read the King James Bible. Yeah. Why do people always go on these types of things? Can't live. Yes, please leave your politics. Here's my thing. I'm at no point in time do I tell people not to be involved in politics. You should be involved. You should carefully consider all of the options. You should vote. You should be actively engaged. But please stop fighting with people on Facebook and everywhere else. You aren't going to change anybody's mind. Calling people names isn't going to change anything. So stop fighting. Stop being political. But anytime you go live and they see that we got a lot of people on here, people want the attention, and they start throwing crap out here, and they start just stop. You can go anywhere anywhere on the internet and talk about and talk. You can talk about uh, politics anywhere. We come here. We're not doing it. We're just. There's so much more out there to life than politics. Please stop. Just stop wasting your time. I mean, you're arguing about stuff that you have no control over. Literally, you have no control over any of this stuff, and yet you're going to devote all your time and energy to this, and it's just kind of ridiculous. My favorite chapter in the Bible, Matthew, chapter 5, Sermon on the Mount. One of my just absolutely favorite things to read. Absolutely. First book again. Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. Nick, I should probably set up something with Amazon so that you can click through and go to Amazon to the whole links for the books. I'll set that up at some point in time. I don't know. But yeah. But the politics they're divisive. And here's the thing is that, and it drives me nuts, is that people want, they're always pushing me for what I think about politics. Well, what I think about politics is it doesn't matter. And you know what? What you think about politics doesn't matter either. Because neither of us are actually in control of anything. I mean, if I was in political office and I was trying to gain political office, then I would tell you what I want to do, right? But at this point in time, I'm not running for office. I have no intention to run for office. I don't have any kind of connections to run for office. I have no desire to run for office, and so I'm not going to sit here and because whatever I say, if you disagree with me, and then people get mad, they piss, and they go, "Oh, everything you do is horrible. You're a dirty, rotten, scum, sucking, filthy piece of trash because you don't agree with me." And this is the divisiveness that's been created, and I think it's stupid. I think it's absolutely the most ridiculous thing ever. Grow up, have real conversation with people. If you really want to discuss something and actually talk about it, then fine. But if your point is you just want to make political points and do this whole gotcha, oh, you're a horrible, rotten person because you disagree with me. No, just because someone disagrees with you doesn't mean that they're evil or stupid. So calm down. Stop it. Stop it. Facebook used to be fun back when Farmville was around, and we also just shared people's pictures of cats and food, and we had silly memes, and we would just tell jokes. But now everything has become so political that it's divisive and ridiculous. It's childish. We've taken political discourse and we've turned it into grade school banter, and it's stupid. Please stop. Life's a garden, dig it. That's what I'm talking about, Facebook user. Yes, hate is ugly no matter what. As I like to say, when it comes to hate, don't participate. And then when I say this is how ridiculous people get. I made this meme that said, when it comes to hate, I don't participate. And then people say, well, what about child molesters? It's like, oh, good Lord. You know what I'm talking about. I'm not telling you to embrace evil. Holy crap. What the hell is wrong with you? Yes, there are things that you should stand up against. But just hating people because they're different, just is so stupid. So stupid. Do you love bunny hugs and mental health? I do. Thanks, Todd. Bunny Hugs is a podcast from Canada, and I was on it. If you go look it up, Bunny Hugs, it was a wonderful podcast. And all eagles running wild. All of a sudden, my PhD in neuropathy, neuropsych doesn't mean a thing because Bobby did his own online research. Oh, that is so true. Oh my goodness. what I hate is when you get into a discussion with somebody on Facebook, and then they start sending you all these articles and stuff, and all this different things. Oh, listen to this, and then so okay. So I research, and then half the articles disagree with what their point was, mostly because they didn't actually read the article. They went by the headlines, and headlines. Guess what? Headlines often will mislead you, just to get you to read the article. But yeah, it's crazy how every time something happens, it's like we're starting to have supply line issues more so than we've had in the past. I mean, there's a lot of things that are happening. Things that happen in California they're categorizing truck drivers as employees now, and so now that's shutting down. It's basically destroying the independent trucker business. I mean, uh, it's pushing a lot of drivers to have to work for bigger companies, and so the bigger companies are getting all the business, and so they're making the money. So it's a terrible, um, terrible situation. But because of all of that, we're going to be supply line issues, and now everybody's going to become supply line experts. So whatever the issue is, everybody becomes experts because they have a look at a couple memes and then. But yeah, Nick, so agree with you. So agree. It's like what's fun to me is like people like yourself who have a PhD in neuropsych. You post something, and then and they disagree with your assessment, and instead of acquiescing to your expertise and probably listening to what you have to say, they'll accuse you basically of being a part of the system, that you obviously have been deceived, you weren't given this correct information, and you're a part of the you're too close to know the truth. I feel bad for you, Nick. I felt bad for you, but you're so true. um, Big money corporations need control. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Totally agree. That's a big part of what's going on here. Is what because big money is controlling our politicians, and if you don't believe that's true, and it's both parties. I mean, don't sit there and say, "Oh, well, my side's for the common man." No, none of them are for you. None of the politicians are for you. There might be a handful of them, but no, they're all in the. I don't want to get. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get into all that. I'm not sure what you're. I don't know the full context of that comment. What I've seen searched for in this life is we humans have stopped being in control of each of our lives. Or a vice. It controls you hate. It controls you. Yes. Yeah. And this is really my message. Thank you, Tiffany, for having that realization. But yeah, no, it's true. It is true. We need to have more control over our own. And this is my message to everybody: is that instead of getting caught up with what's going on in the world, now I'm not saying ignore it. Please understand that. Um, by focusing on your own world, your own life, and focus on your family, focus on you, and taking care of your needs and yourself, you will benefit society because then you don't become a burden on society. Okay. You also will find peace of mind knowing that you can take care of yourself, that you aren't dependent on everyone else and everything else. Um, so become self-sufficient. I would highly recommend, especially the way this world is getting right now. I would highly recommend you go put some food away. Get a old storage. You don't have to go crazy, but have more than most people only have about 2 weeks of food. 2 weeks worth of food in their home at any given point in time. That's the average American. Some less. If you live in a small apartment, it could be a whole lot less. But if you really stop and think about how much you eat or how much you need to eat, and what to eat, um, you really need to just focus on that. Put that food away, because if you and that's the other thing. As long as you always have food in your house, that is one of the most basic needs. Shelter. Obviously, if you've got a house, you got shelter. You need food and you need water. You need those three things. Those are the three most basics. And if you take care of those three things, then everything else is a lot easier to deal with. But you think you're stressed out now. Wait till you can't get the food at the stores. I lived through hurricanes in North Carolina where everything got shut down for weeks at a time. Um, Power was out. We couldn't, the stores, there was nothing coming in. And you really have to be able to depend on yourself. So just take care of your basic needs, and you'll find your life would be a whole lot easier. Also, if you grow your own food, it tastes so much better. Your own grown. Now, I don't have a garden now. We're making preparations now. We're going to be doing one because I'm actually staying home now more. Or at least I'm trying to. But we have place that we can grow garden. So we're going to grow garden. My mother-in-law has a garden, and I enjoy going and visiting with her because she's always got fresh tomatoes and zucchini and squash. It's the best when you've had homegrown. When I grew up, we had gardens. We grew our own stuff, and or we got a lot of stuff from farmers markets. If you get food grown locally, it tastes so much better. It's just the stores. It's the it's just there's just not the flavor and the texture, and just the food is so much better. Would you consider yourself like the George Carlin documentary, where he came to please everyone and turned a new leaf in his life by cutting the crap? As very intelligent as you are amused more people being a positive mumbling. Okay. Um, uh, you know, um, I love George Carlin. I grew up watching George Carlin, and yeah, I said, he used to be the hippy dippy weatherman, and he did a kids show. George Carlin was on a kids show. Um, um, and yeah, he was not political. He was just being silly, being funny, and he was very talented, very funny. But as he got older, he saw the world for what it was, and he saw, because he had gotten to a level in the entertainment industry and was wealthy and hung out with wealthy people, and he hung out with regular people, and he saw it from both sides, and he saw the game that was being played, and he was calling everyone out on it. And I think to a lot of I think to a big degree, I feel that same way. Is that I'm trying to, and in his message, really, if you listen to him, he said that, look, there's a game being played, and you're not there's a big club, and you're not in it, and you're probably never going to be in it because you're never going to have the money or resources to fight these people doing what they're doing. But what you can do is, one, don't buy into the crap, and two, live your life and be happy. Just live your life and be happy, and fight against evil when you see it. Stand up for what you believe is true. That's absolutely true, but don't let it destroy you. Don't let Because part of their game is destroying you. It's controlling you, using your emotions to cause you to do things. Because if they can use fear and cause you to go and buy a lot of stuff that they have stock in, it's like, oh, well, we have a lumber shortage. Oh no, and then or we have a toilet paper shortage. And everybody runs out and buys toilet paper. Who do you think made money off of that deal? I mean, if you had a business and you were able to just make a phone call and say, "Hey, we got to overstock the toilet paper. Do you think you could create a situation where we sell a lot of toilet paper?" Yeah, sure, absolutely. That's the kind of crap that goes on all the time. So, and George Carlin was brilliant at pointing it out. So, but yeah, I do think that if I just make videos as me starting off, because I did make videos as me, and nobody cared, nobody paid attention. But once I start doing a character um, who's just being silly and ridiculous, but then saying the same messages that I was wanting to share, but now it's being shared by Leonard, then all of a sudden it's funny and interesting. So, so yeah, I think the character helps deliver the message. Absolutely, people pay attention to it. It's like people say, "Why do you keep doing this?" Because you keep watching. I'm 41, and this year it hit me that I really don't know. Yeah, that's true. I mean, like, what's really important? I feel so out of touch with Mother Earth, and now scored in my DNA is the knowledge of my ancestors. We are not limited beings. We are powerful, and we are remembering. Yes, I think people are waking up. People are opening their eyes, and they're seeing the world for what it is. And that's the beauty of this whole thing, man. This whole thing is amazing. We should just be enjoying every minute of it. We should be hanging out with each other, doing cool stuff like this. This is fun. This is cool. More than once, I have predicted during election time, there's always some new disease or gun violence. Personally, feel it's just part. Yep, absolutely. You're correct, Charlene. Um, that is absolutely true. Absolutely true. Every time there's an election year, something comes up. And when you see it for what it is, man, you can kind of plan on it. You can go, oh, hey, we're due for a mass shooting here soon. It's sad, but man, it's so true. Your videos are silly and they are full of truth. Just take shit as it comes. That's it. Embrace the suck, as we say in the Marine Corps. Embrace the suck. It's going to be painful. It's going to be hard. It's going to be difficult. And you can either be miserable and make it even more difficult and terrible, or you can just say, hey, I'm going to have fun regardless. And you go, how is it possible to have fun where everything is miserable? Well, while you're there, if you just start looking and go, how ridiculous this is, and start laughing about how more ridiculous it becomes, you know what happens? You change your mentality about it. And instead of being in a horrible, miserable state, all of a sudden you start doing fun things. You start seeing the craziness, the horrible situation you're in becomes funnier. And when you see that funny, when you see how silly just everything becomes, it's like, I give you an example. Um, I have been, okay, I have this old Nissan pickup. It's 2005 Nissan, 2006 Nissan pickup. I've had this thing for years. And this truck just keeps going and going and going, right? We thought about trading it a few years ago when we went in. The most they would give us is $500. If I tried to sell it online right now, I don't think I could get $500 out of this thing, but it keeps running. But recently, it died while we were driving it. And what had happened is the fuel pump stopped working, so it wasn't sending fuel to the engine. So it's been sitting in my yard for a long time because I've been gone and just haven't had time to work on it. So anyway, I finally had time to work on it, and uh, I had to pull it into where I could get underneath it. So out of the dirt, I had to pull it, put it under my carport where the cement, so I could get up underneath it and work on it. Because you have to, the fuel pump sits inside the gas tank itself, so you have to drop the gas tank down, take out the pump, put the new one in, and then put it all back together. Now, here's the problem: is that I live in the Northeast, and there's a lot. Everything rusts. Because everything rusts when I go to take bolts and stuff off, they either will not budge, or if they do budge, they break. It's just every little thing that could go wrong was just every little part of it has fought me. Every single bolt has been rusted out, and I've had to work it. They're breaking off. It's just, and then every single connection, because you have to disconnect um, electrical connectors and then evap hoses, and then of course the actual fuel line and you're disconnect, and these things are hard to reach. You can't get to them, and it took forever to just to disconnect one connector. Took me 7 hours of trying to get to the stupid thing just so I could disconnect the connector. Now, part of that was getting frustrated and walking away, but it was just, anyway. So it took me 3 days to just get the tank out of the stupid truck. Now I could get frustrated and upset, but I just realized, you know what? I'm not desperate for the car. I can take that. That's probably part of the reasons I'm not desperate for the car. But I just I've been able to get it taken down. I got the thing out, and life just is what it is, man. It's just, and I hate to say that. I hate that when people say it is what it is, but life is what life is, and you can either get upset about it or not. I don't want to get upset about it. I'm just laughing about how ridiculous this whole thing has turned into. But hopefully I'll finish it and I'll have it done today and I can take crap to the dump. But yeah. That's a long story. And I'm still not done with it because I got to put it all back together. And then I won't. Oh, here we go. I'm desperate for a car. See, here's this guy, AI Gaming. He's on YouTube. He needs a car. Here's my thing is that I can sit here and get upset about my situation, but I'm not desperate for this truck. I would like to have a truck. It makes my life better to have the truck. But I have other transportation. And so I could sit here and complain about how miserable and terrible my life is. Meanwhile, this gentleman right here, AI Gaming, he needs a car. So if you want to help somebody out, help this guy out. Find this guy on YouTube and help this guy out and throw him a few bucks. Help him get a car. Hey buddy, your video is the best one. Thank you. Thank you. I'm having fun. Like I said, I just want to entertain people. I wanted to get away from the politics. I want to get away from the divisiveness. I just said, you know what? Why are we complaining about life? We're living at one of the most incredible points in history ever. I mean, think about this. We all have supercomputers that we just carry around with us. Just about every one of us is able to get one of these things. Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea how much? When I was a kid, I was thinking about this the other day. One of my favorite things to watch when I was a kid was James Bond movies because of all the gadgets and how awesome it was going to be in the future to have all these super gadgets. Well, guess what? This, and then I got one of these Samsung watches that connects with my phone, right? Counts my paces, and it's awesome. All the technology we have, what a freaking amazing time to be alive. All the cool stuff that we have. Look, I'm literally just in my front room having a conversation with 250 people from all over the world. This is pretty freaking cool. This is amazing. Holy cow, people. Just look around and go, this is a great time to be alive. It really is. I have the same thoughts, and I've often thought about doing what you are doing. I think I should. Yes, the world needs more people doing positive things. We need to flood the internet with positive things, and not the mushy, you know what I'm talking about. We don't need that stuff. But just people who are talking about positive things, who are talking about negative things in a positive way. That's the big thing. That's what I try to do is I talk about negative things, but do so in a positive way. That to see difficulties and negative situations that you've been in your life, that it's not the end of it's not the end of the world. That when you have a positive outlook, again, as I've said before, having a positive attitude and being optimistic does not mean that you expect everything to be perfect. It's just knowing that you're going to be okay regardless. That you're going to get through this. That even if it's difficult, you can get through difficult things. I mean, just but yeah, get out there and do things, do positive things. And here's the other thing: if you might have this thought that, well, somebody else is already doing that. Um, and this is one thing that you could say about me. Other people are doing positive videos. Other people are doing positive messages. Other people are better looking. Other people have more money and better production values, and they can produce better videos than I can, and all of that stuff. That's true. But there's still plenty of room for everybody. You may not produce the exact best videos ever. You might not, but just do it and get it out there and let people know that there's still happiness and that there's still joy to be found in this life, and that they're not alone, that you're not alone. That's the big thing, is that you're not alone. You're not the only one. The way you're thinking something, trust me, there's a lot of people out there thinking the same thing. And by you getting out there and sharing your message and sharing your positive outlook, it helps them feel better about doing that themselves. So yeah, don't stop and go, well, someone else is already doing that. No, just do it. I mean, there's a lot of people make chocolate bars. Just because Hershey's has got the corner on the market, they have the biggest thing. That means you go, well, I shouldn't do a chocolate bar now. No, there's this company called Utah Truffle. Um, they make incredible chocolate bars. They make great, and sure they're not selling the big numbers like Hershey's, but they're selling enough, and they're making what they love. They're putting their heart into it, and they're making it, and they're getting it out there, and people who try it, taste it, love it. I mean, you don't have to be the biggest and to be successful. Um, just get out there, do your thing. Who cares if there's other people doing it? Just do it. Just get out there. Bring your special message, your special way of doing it. That was my whole thing was, sure, everybody else is doing. There's a lot of people making videos. There's a lot of people doing positive message videos. There's a lot of people doing funny videos. And my goal was to do it unlike anybody else. Do something different. Be something different. Have some fun. Go somewhere. Just do it all wrong. And so that's what I started doing. And man, it's fun. People are connecting with it. They're going, this is fun. And so yes, get out of your own head and just start doing stuff. Get out and just start doing stuff. Just to make sure the grocery store doesn't put you on the bottom shelf. But hey, at least you're on the shelf. That's the important thing, is just getting on the shelf. In fact, I now, when I go look for a candy bar, that's where I look. I don't look at the main stuff. The Hershey's and the Reese's. I love independent bottlers. I love soda pop. Um, and so I like to, when I go into a town, there's a soda pop company here in Connecticut called Hosmer Mountain, and they make a version of every soda pop you can ever imagine. They're just every flavor you can imagine, and I love that stuff. And I buy that stuff instead of. Plus, they use more natural ingredients. It's actual real ingredients. I mean, you could take their ingredients list, go buy them, and make your own soda if you wanted to. That's great stuff. Whereas with the Coke, I think half the stuff is controlled substances that you'd probably get thrown in jail. You have to have a special license to get that stuff. If that's any indication of stuff that you probably shouldn't be putting in your body. But yeah, Q-tip with glasses. Thank you, thank you. And the glasses thing. This is a new thing. My eyesight's not the best lately. I used to have great vision. I had amazing vision for most of my life, but in the last few years, they're slipping away, and I'm having to use. I literally have. I carry with me usually about 2 or 3 different pairs of glasses, depending on what I'm trying to read at any given point in time. And it's just part of being old. So I have these ones that are super magnifying. Isn't that cool? Those are like 3. I have to special order them because they don't. Grocery stores, Walmart only sells like a 3.0. I have to get like a 3.75 just so I can read. It drives me nuts. But yeah, if you want to, go find local candy makers. Go find local. You'll find the stuff's even better than the corporate garbage. You like my Harry Potters? I love these round glasses. These are for reading really close. That makes everything blurry. It gives me a headache. I don't think these are as powerful. These are dirty though. So I started buying the round glasses when I do Santa Claus. So anyway, no, that I need cleaner. That just made it worse. Anyway, so this talking about my glasses probably boring. I live in Connecticut. I live in Connecticut. Took me 10 months to grow a mustache. I love your beard. How long have you been growing it? I was wondering if it was worth a multi-year investment or not. Well, it's worked out pretty good for me. The last time I was clean shaven was November of 2019. Wait, no, 2018. November of 2018. I was in a movie. I was an extra in a movie. I had at the time a full beard, long hair, and they shaved the middle of my beard so I'd have mutton chops for the movie. So then when I finished making the movie, I shaved the beard off and went ahead and cut my hair. I thought, well, I'll just go without the beard. And I missed the beard so much that I grew it back. And not looking back, I don't think I'm going to shave the beard anytime soon. But I grew the beard a lot so I could do Santa Claus. In fact, I have I have a comedy special as Santa Claus available. If you go to YouTube and you look up Santa Claus Does Stand Up, it's with Dry Bar. There's 2 versions of it out there. There's one that's by Dry Bar, and then there's another one that's on my YouTube channel, which I filmed the year before I did the Dry Bar special. And it was actually from that one that Dry Bar saw that one and said, yeah, we want you to do that. So then I filmed that a year later. But yes, I do stand-up comedy as Santa Claus. And part of that was, I've talked about before, is because I got into doing Santa Claus as sort of a nod to my cousin who passed away a few years ago. Oh, thank you, Rory. Yes, keep it clean. Been married 35 years. Don't remember the last time I seen my husband's clean shaven. No, I have no plans on no plans at this time to shave anytime soon. So, but anyway, so my updates are that I want to share with you. We're looking to put on more dates for comedy. I'm talking to more clubs and locations. Um, Looking for Seattle and Oregon areas. Also, trying to put more dates in Texas and Louisiana, that area, for the end of August. I'll be in Florida in October. I'm looking to put more stuff down in Florida. If you've got a location, if you have a club or a place where you do a show and you're in Florida and you have space available in October, let me know. Love to do that. But more shows are coming up all the time. You can check out rodneynorman.com for more information. Got all my merch there. Also, don't want to forget my friend Bison Coolers. They gave me this mug. It works. It's awesome. It keeps everything nice and cool. And people have been requesting of them to make a Rodney Norman a drink holder, a Rodney Norman cup. And so if you go to Bison Coolers and tell them you want a Rodney Norman cup, I think we could pull it. I think we get them to do it. I think we can pull it off. So just go to bisoncoolers.com and just leave a message, say when you're going to start doing Rodney Norman merch. But they've got all kinds of cool stuff. They got these. They got the cooler, that sea foam, and that cool looking. And it's got these cool. It's like Yeti, if you're familiar with Yeti, but these handles are actually really, really good. So look at that. Nice seal. So they're my good sponsor, and of course, Mr. Cool Air Conditioning, Mr. Cool. Check those guys out. But you guys have been amazing. Thank you so much. RodneyNorman.com for all your stuff. We'll do this again tomorrow. I'm having fun doing this. And you guys are delightful. And I got to go do stuff. I got to try to put the gas tank in my truck today. See if I can get this operational. So you've been wonderful. Love you bunches. Have a super freaking awesome day.